Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The volume of domestic liquidity increased by 2.1% to exceed 20.5 billion Omani riyals. Israel begins calling up police and army reservists after separate attacks killed 3 people in Tel Aviv. And North Korea conducts another test of a nuclear-capable underwater attack drone as South Korea and Japan expressed deep concerns over its weapons programs and missile threats. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. The volume of domestic liquidity increased by 2.1% to exceed 20 billion and 500 million Omani riyals. Initial statistics issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information indicated that the total private sector deposits within the commercial banks and Islamic outlets in the Sultanate of Oman increased by 1.5% to reach 17 billion and 532 million Omani riyals. The data indicated that the total cash issued decreased by the end of last January by 5.3% to reach 1 billion and 600 million Omani riyals. The money supply, which consists of total cash outside the banking system in addition to current accounts and demand deposits in the local currency, decreased by 3.1% to reach 5,577 million Omani riyals. The total value of trading in Muscat Stock Exchange (MSX) last week reached 85,800,000 Omani riyals. The shares of industrial companies enlisted in the index rose after the implementation of the selling of the shares of Oman Investment Authority and Oman Cement Company, where the company occupied about 87.2% of the total trading value. The value of tradings in MSX during the first quarter of 2023 reached 191 million Omani riyals. The latest analysis of the National Multi-Hazards Early Warning Center shows that the Sultanate of Oman will be affected by a low trough system. It will start from this evening and is expected to continue until Tuesday, with chances of varied intensity rainfalls, occasionally thunderous and accompanied by gusty winds over the governorates of Dhofar, Wusta, North and South Sharqiya, and Al Hajar Mountains and its nearby areas. The Civil Aviation Authority advises the public to take precautions during rains and not to cross flowing wadis and check the sea state before sailing and follow the latest weather bulletins. Israel began calling up police and army reservists after today's separate attacks killed 3 people in Tel Aviv and occupied West Bank. Despite appeals for restraints, violence has surged since Israeli police clashed with Palestinians inside Jerusalem's flashpoint Al-Aqsa Mosque on Wednesday, with Israel bombarding both Gaza and Lebanon. The police and emergency services said that 1 person was killed and 7 others wounded when a car ploughed into pedestrian on the Tel Aviv seafront last evening and flipped over before the driver was shot dead. Palestinian resistance said that the attack has a natural and legitimate response to Israel's aggression in Al-Aqsa Mosque. Following the Tel Aviv attack, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu instructed the police to mobilize all reserve border police units and directed the army to mobilize additional forces. Russia is ready to work with the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, to establish a security zone around the occupied Ukrainian nuclear power plant in Zaporizhzhia. The state-owned firm signaled Moscow's willingness to cooperate with the agency regarding the plant's security, which remains under the control of the Russian troops following a meeting with its representative with the IAEA Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi in the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad on Wednesday. Grossi, who visited the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant last week for the second time since the full-scale war began, has warned that the escalating fighting in the region is putting Europe's largest nuclear power plant at serious risk. North Korea conducted another test of a nuclear-capable underwater attack drone, the latest in a show of force against the U.S. and South Korea. Still photographs aired by the state broadcast at KRT showed the drone maneuvering across the surface of a body of water and then fully underwater, as well as a target being exploded. During the underwater strategic weapons system test from April 4th to April 7, KRT said that the drone cruised a 1,000 kilometers of underwater distance for 71 hours and 6 minutes. North Korea's second test of an underwater attack drone comes over a week after its first disclosed the first drone designed to make sneak attacks in enemy waters. Director General of the Japanese Foreign Ministry's Asian and Oceanian Affairs Bureau met his South Korean counterpart in Seoul to discuss North Korea. The meeting came as North Korea has been ramping up its military activity in recent weeks, unveiling new, smaller nuclear warheads, firing an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of striking anywhere in the U.S., and testing what it called a nuclear-capable underwater attack drone. The navies of South Korea and the U.S. and Japan held an anti-submarine exercises earlier this week to better counter North Korea's evolving nuclear and missile capabilities. Still to come on News Bulletin. Strengthening ties of kinship comes within the traditions in Dhofar Governorate during the holy month of Ramadan. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. With the aim of creating exposure on active projects and providing an introduction on the challenges facing entrepreneurs, Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Al Wusta Governorate organized a Ramadan evening on entrepreneurship. The evening discussed 2 work papers on the topic, presented several success stories in the entrepreneurship field, and reviewed some of the pioneering projects in the governorate. Quran schools in the governorate of Al Barimi are witnessing wide participation from various age groups. The programs of these schools include competitions on the memorization of the Holy Quran and religious lessons given by specialists from the Ministry of Endowment and Religious Affairs. Some of the lessons given by these schools depend on personal attendance, while other courses are provided online. With the aim of strengthening ties of kinship, a virtue obligated by Islam, comes the tradition of gatherings in the wilayas of the Far Governorate during the holy month of Ramadan. According to this tradition, people in the governorate exchange visits after Taraweeh prayers to congratulate each other on the advent of the holy month. This old religious tradition strengthens the spirit of harmony and cohesion among members of the society. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. The volume of domestic liquidity increased by 2.1% to exceed 20.5 billion Omani riyals. Israel begins calling up police and army reservists after separate attacks killed 3 people in Tel Aviv. And North Korea conducts another test of a nuclear-capable underwater attack drone as South Korea and Japan express deep concern over its weapons programs and missile threats. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios is good night and stay safe.